Oh, no. It's the G-Man Show 35. No vision.
Yeah, it's the GMen Show. Talking fruit, tech, and ego. Hot takes, cold coffee. Still hitting every keynote. They roast your phone. No. They roast each other. Tips, rants, one after another. Is that a feature or just a bug? Either way, it gets a shrug. GMen Show. Turn it up. Let the fanboys know. Questions, rants, or a nerdy confession. Call in now. Join the obsession. 703-828-46777. 703-828-4677. Yeah!
And welcome everyone to the G-Men Show. I'm Guy and he's Marty. He's Marty. He's not Gaz. I hope to hear from Gaz very soon. But moving on from that, according to some, Apple is quietly abandoning the Vision Pro after lackluster sales with the M5 upgrade last year. The usual suspects cited are high price, too heavy, not enough developer support. But what if the goal isn't the Vision Pro, but something else? Marty, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. It's just, it's an absolutely crazy week for me. And we can get into that if you want to get into that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, this is the last week of the semester. So we have finals and we have all the meetings that people think they need to have before the semester's over with. And more importantly, on my floor, everybody has to evacuate my floor for the summer. So I am cleaning out 26 years of crap that have accumulated in my office.
Are they like refurbishing the building or something, or is it just some
they're
rule?
putting new HVAC systems through the ceiling, and then they're going to be putting new lighting in, and maybe they'll finally lift those asbestos tiles that are on my floor that I've been living with for 26 years. So yeah, that's this week. And then next week, actually 6 days from today is my son's wedding.
Oh, nice.
So I've got it coming from both ends. So it's just crazy, but crazy's good.
Yeah, both ends, that usually has a different meaning for me. My wife is back, and thank God. I don't know how many more steaks I could have eaten because, that's such a problem. And all kidding aside, I'm actually very, very happy that she's returned. It's like balance has been restored in the household, because for that like 10 days she was gone, it was me, 2 girl cats, and 3 female guinea pigs. And it was like it was overwhelming. The amount of demand that was coming at me from all sides. And with my wife now home, she can handle a lot of that too. So yay.
So did you learn something about yourself with her gone?
Well, I mean, she has gone before, but for the most part, it's just the house doesn't feel right. I usually have trouble sleeping. While she's been gone, I've taken some more of the sleep help stuff that I have, which I won't go into because who knows who's listening to this show. But yeah. And then when she comes back, she came in at like 11:30 last night, flying back from Boise. Obviously not a direct flight because you can't get to Boise direct from anywhere. I don't care where it is that you live. So she had a connecting flight in Minneapolis and got in about 11:30 last night. I went and I picked her up, got her home. And no sooner had I got into bed when I was like, I was out just like right away. It was like, okay, equilibrium has been restored. So I'm good. So she's not allowed to go away ever again. But
yeah, but it's an opportunity for you to learn something about yourself and learn something about your relationship with your wife.
Yeah, I don't like it when she's gone. That's what I've learned.
Okay,
but it was a lesson I learned a long time ago. Now, what's gonna suck is And this happens every single time when I go someplace. So in July, I'm going to Macstock. Last year, I had 2 trips to Florida. No, 1 trip to Florida without her. And then, of course, twice to Michigan for reasons. And it's difficult when I'm in a weird, or not weird, but hotel room, and she's not there, and there's like nothing there to kind of ground me. And so I usually have trouble sleeping in those cases, but I will be bringing my sleep aids along with me to Macstock. So I don't know if I should take them after drinking, but we'll find out. You know, if I don't show up one morning, have somebody come up and bring a resuscitator, and you know, we'll see what happens.
Sleep aids are legal in Illinois. I just want to let you know.
Yeah, well, it depends. Not the kind that I have. So we'll see.
Okay.
They come from a special shop. Okay, very good. For anyone who cares, I am still loving my Heil PR35 microphone, though, as Marty and I were talking before we started to record, I may have to switch it up. Not that I still don't love this microphone, but I'm getting microphone antsy. So, you know, with all the ones that I have, I may try something else. And I actually have one here at the desk with me, and it's the Earthworks Ethos. And I know Dave Hamilton has been using it for a very, very long time. And I used mine for quite some time too, until I bought this one. And then it was like, okay, well, this is the one I want. So we'll see. We'll see if I stick with the Heil or move on to something else. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I did not fire up Farrago, which is my soundboard. Where is it? There it is. Which is my soundboard thing. And let's find out if it's going to record, because since I started it and then started recording before, it's not a given. So.
This is Nam Gmo. What's the message?
Okay. Did you hear that?
I heard it.
Okay. And John, thanks for calling in. So that was so long ago. I've got a bunch of little bumpers from some of the various people from mymac.com that I've collected over the years. But we are going to move over to Gaz's snippets. Now, Marty, this may take as long as the main topic today. iOS 27 heralds big changes. According to some analysts, iOS 27 will have significant changes. S-Lady will be Appified, not just in iOS, but also in macOS and iPadOS. Similar to how other LLMs work, S-Lady will have both a written text and chat mode for interacting with users. Satellite features will expand to not just texts, but maps and photo support with messages along with third-party support. Under Tell Me If You've Heard This Before, it's also supposed to take a snow leopard approach to fixing bugs in iOS 26 instead of rolling out big features. So I'm going to stop right there and ask you your opinion on all that stuff I just said.
Well, it doesn't surprise me about the Appified thing, because people are looking for some location to go to in order, and they're learning it from the other LLMs.
Yeah.
And the big question that's not answered is the security issue on this. The way it's being sent out, it sounds like they're just abandoning security, and I don't think Apple would do that. So we still don't know about how this is going to fit within the context of the Apple walled garden yet.
That's true.
And the snow leopard approach to fixing bugs, well, if it seems more efficient and seems more friendlier in terms of doing that, then that doesn't surprise me. Again, all of this is, and we'll get into the other stuff about what's supposed to be in it. all of this is speculative right now.
Oh, very much so. We'll find out a lot of this at WWDC.
Yeah. And I really want to see a integrated walled garden that's contextual to who I am. And
I mean, as far as S-Lady or AI goes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and particularly with S-Lady. So, you know, I'm in this Apple ecosystem. Things are in my Apple calendar. The S-Lady should be able to put 2 and 2 together and keep it within on device or within me in my situation. Whereas that doesn't always work with other LLMs unless you give them the information. So that's what I think the big delays are. That's what I think the goal has always been. They overshot that by promoting it before it could actually roll out.
Yeah.
So when that happens, I'll be happy.
Okay. Sounds good. Some of the other things that are being talked about is visual intelligence, which will let you scan nutrition labels on food packaging for tracking calories and macronutrients. Almost didn't get through that word. In the health app, visual intelligence will let you scan phone numbers and addresses printed on a piece of paper or business card and add them to the contacts app. In the wallet app, you will likely be able to scan physical event tickets, gym membership cards, and so forth, and create digital versions. And finally, in the Safari app, you will be able to automatically name tab groups for users based on contents of the tabs within the groups. Also, anything under the iPhone 12 will no longer be supported.
People are going to cry about that. Those folks with the iPhone 12s, they're going to whine. Why are they leaving us behind? Well, because it's technology advances. Yeah,
it's 6 years old. Come on.
I don't give a hoot's butt about visual intelligence scanning nutrition labels. That information, I open my eyes and I read it and make decisions around that. If I even make decisions around what's nutrition.
Yeah. Well, as we both know, Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries is part of a complete breakfast. If that breakfast includes toast and orange juice and half a grapefruit and bacon and, you know, all those other things.
Particular brands of potato chips. Also, you got to get your vegetable in.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's true. That's true.
So, yeah, you know, my wife and I went to an Apple store when Apple Intelligence just came out, and we sat down and person was going to go through all these different things and she didn't realize it was a ringer. But she started showing things, and it was like scanning phone numbers and addresses and moving. So I don't think this is too terribly new.
Probably not.
I think it's available. It probably requires multiple steps to get it in there, but this seems a little bit more direct from source in terms of scanning phone numbers and addresses and then tossing it into contacts if you want to.
Yeah, you know, this kind of reminds me of QR codes where, you know, you used to have to open a QR code app in order to get the QR code to do anything. And now you just open your camera app, point it at it, and, you know, whatever it is that QR code is pointing to shows up at the bottom of the screen. So this may be a case of you turn on your camera app and you point it at a business card or you know, address of whatever, and it automatically opens the contact app, finds one that is either associated with it or, you know, says, do you want a new contact? That kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't understand this wallet app going to scan physical event tickets and gym membership cards and so forth to generate
who has
digital
those anymore?
versions.
Well, the gym cards, yes, but things like events.
Who's going to accept those?
Yeah. Who, you know, right now, and for better or for worse, I don't want to get into the debate of, you know, if these ticket managing sites are good or evil. They're evil.
Mm-hmm.
But when you buy a ticket now, you have to jump through hoops to get them to send you a physical copy of it. you have to go through extra steps to get that physical copy. Whereas most of them have a link that says, "Oh, do you want this in Apple Wallet or whatever the equivalent is over on Android?" And you click yes, and then all of a sudden you get a little dialog box saying, such and such website wants to add to Apple Wallet, yes or no. You click yes, and then it's just there, and you're done. Or you get a link in through like an email or something.
Yeah, my brother-in-law was a standout for physical tickets for the season tickets he got for the Cubs games. Mm-hmm. And it took him having to contact the front office in order to be able to get actual physical tickets. That's all changed now. He's doing it through the app, and he's when I go and he passes tickets on to me, we do it through the app.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just for me, the question is, even if you can scan physical tickets, are venues going to accept scanned versions of physical tickets as a entrance? I mean, there's some limitations with the state driver's license now, let alone getting into a Taylor Swift concert. No chance of that happening for me, by the way.
Yeah, no, none for me either. Not because I couldn't buy tickets, just because I don't want to go. And that is absolute. And, in case I piss off any Swifties out there, it isn't because I don't like her. I just don't care for that brand of music. I admire her greatly for taking back control of her brand. I think that was, it's something you see so little of in the music industry, and only the most powerful are able to do something like that, which is a shame.
Yeah.
So go Swifties.
Yeah. So none of this stuff surprises me or excites me at this point.
All right. Well, then let's move on to there's big deals on Amazon. Apple's MacBook Pro and Air in all sizes are seeing discounts on Amazon for up to $216 off, that's a pretty significant discount. You'd have to go to Amazon to see, where those discounts are. It could just be for the low end models as compared to, if you go ahead and say, well, I want one that has 1 terabyte on a MacBook Air, and I want 24 gigs of RAM. You may not get that discount depending on how they have it set up.
Yeah, all I have to do is remember to wait 3 months when a new product comes out. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I check, and for people who don't know this, and I can't imagine at this point, most people probably do know this, you can get some amazing deals on the refurb site at Apple, especially once, like when the M5 MacBook Air came out, you started seeing really good deals on the M4 MacBook Airs, which are still fantastic machines. I'm still using an M1 MacBook Pro. That's my portable, go to church on Sundays laptop. And I am thinking that I'm probably what?
Do you actually take it to church with you on Sundays?
If I don't go to church.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. It's like, don't mind me. Let me get on the church Wi-Fi. No, I'm just watching YouTube videos. You guys go ahead. I'll stand when I need to stand.
I'm serving my God while you're serving yours.
Yeah. It's a very, very, what's a good word? It's a very relaxed kind of church. It's like, come on in, bring your laptop. We don't care as long as you put something in the offering plate. And I get it. I get it. The last thing I have is unsurprising to absolutely no one. Apple makes lots of money in the second quarter 2026 filings. We could talk about this ad nauseum, and Gaz and I actually have in years gone by. It's like, okay, well, in this product category, they're up to this and that. It's like nobody cares. 99% of people out there don't care. But here's the bottom line. Apple made nearly $30 billion in profit on over $111 billion in sales. So their what is it, ROR?
Yeah, return on investment.
As far as, what people spent and what profit they got is like over 25%, which is amazing in tech.
Yeah, the number that I was administering a final exam at the moment when they were doing this, and I put my earbuds in, and while my students were suffering, I sat and listened to the quarterly filings and the phone call, and I think the number that kept coming up was 17% over last year's in a lot of things, in a lot of categories. It was like, compared to last spring, 17% increase.
Yeah, year over year.
And year over year. Yeah.
Yeah. And with that, having said that, nearly every product category is up, with services reaching an all-time record. And that is going to go as long as it's a value proposition, which, quite honestly, if you're an Apple user, most of the various services are, that's just going to continue.
Yeah.
Yep. And I don't have a Gaz's link today, which isn't unusual. That's a Gaz thing. Actually, a lot of this is a Gaz. I miss you, Gaz. Where the hell are you? The topic that we have for today is Vision Pro no more. Now, last year, Apple updated the Vision Pro to an M5 processor. This resulted in a slightly faster experience, improved graphics, 100 megahertz versus 120 megahertz, and small changes to the unit to provide a better fit. What it didn't do was relieve the problems that some users brought up on the device's shortcomings. And some of these we're going to go over these one by one. Yeah. Major complaints were, number one, the price. Starting at $34.99, the Vision Pro isn't exactly a casual purchase. And if you add in the prescription lenses, you're looking at probably over 4K. So what's your take on that?
The prescription lenses are $100 or $150, depending on how complicated it is. My take on it is, it doesn't surprise me that Apple didn't lower the price when they put a faster chip in it. I think the faster chip going from basically an M2 to the M5 with the latest release of it was done because they just didn't want to keep putting M2s into the technology, and they could easily swap this out with any new production. It has allowed for some faster and better visual foveated effects and things like that. Mm-hmm. Those still happen with the M2 versions, but it's much crisper and cleaner with the M5. That's not going to be something that's going to attract somebody to go, oh, now I'm going to put $3,500 on a headset.
Yeah.
A lot of this, and we do vision profiles on Monday nights. We do a show.
And you do that live on YouTube for people who are listening. And there'll be links on YouTube to these shows.
9 p.m. Eastern time. But so we cover the news every week. And this has cropped up again that Apple's going to drop the Vision Pro. And it's often by columnists who don't own one.
Yeah, not a surprise.
Some of them have never used one for any extensive period of time, but they're like, oh, nothing's happened, so let's take a shot at this and say, it looks like things are going to drop off, and Apple hasn't done enough with this product, so they're probably giving up on it. I have my complaints in terms of how this has been covered, and people who are not regular users of the product writing on the product and kind of putting these rumors out there that this is going to happen. I made I made a big prediction that Vision Pro will stop being produced in the last show. Vision Pro 2 is another thing. So, I think we're going to stop seeing Vision Pros being produced because there is now a large segment of users of that include industry for training and medicine in terms of surgery.
Yes.
And we cover those stories. So there's an enterprise use of this device at the high end, and they can afford it. What we're learning from this device is how to build a consumer product, which is glasses. Now, it won't have the immersion kind of video that you see. If you want that, you're still going to have to pay for the high-end product.
Well, hold on. Before you go any farther from that, let me ask a quick question. Assuming that, and it wouldn't surprise me, that Apple is making something smaller, around the size of regular glasses, could they include, say, a battery pack / external processing source that you could like slip in your pocket with either a single cable coming up for data or for battery, or possibly even if it's just a unit to help it process, do that over a local Bluetooth. Over local Bluetooth, not over a local. That's a dumb thing to say.
Yeah. So I think glasses are going to be rechargeable, not necessarily something that you have to attach a battery pack, because I think glasses are not going to function like Apple Vision Pro does. I think glasses will do notifications on screen if you want to have them set that way. They'll do audio. So if you want to stream music through it, you'll be able to do that. It might do maps in terms of having that projected on a screen for people to be able to use, or maps that are in the context of where they are. They're not going to be running 4K video into two eyeballs at height. So you're not going to be watching feature length films in 4K or in 3D on glasses. It's going to be a notification, productivity, a device that will allow you to augment what's going on in the world around you in terms of information.
Infotainment rather than entertainment.
Yeah. I mean, I'm one of the original. Well, I don't want to say I'm one of the original, but I owned Google Glass years ago and was shamed out of wearing them anywhere.
Really?
But it was really a pretty cool interface in terms of messaging coming up, in terms of, things that I could scroll through with swiping on the side of my head to be able to get that information while I was walking around. So I see the glasses being more, again, of a consumer product versus an enterprise product, and not meant to do immersion, but meant to augment what's going on in terms of the context of information for the user. Okay,
kind of almost like a side device with your iPhone then.
Yeah, when I describe that, either Eric Bolden says, "Oh, you mean basically a Apple Watch for your eye?"
That's
not unfair. He's right.
Yeah.
It's not an unfair depiction of that.
Yes.
I think that's what's going to emerge. That's going to make it different than Meta. That's going to make it different than other products as they are right now.
Right. Well, most of the other products are big, bulky units. They just cost a lot less, but they don't do as much.
Yeah, I was kind of referring to Meta glasses.
Okay.
They do even less.
I haven't seen those.
Yeah.
All right. To the next point, somewhat limited in functionality at the beginning with little developer support, which isn't surprising because you can't develop for something that you don't have.
Yeah. I think Apple did some things like just last fall did a 2-day developer conference just on Vision Pro. And so I don't think Apple's abandoned them. Developers always, not complaining about developers. They give us all the goodies we want.
Yeah.
But they want more. And it's not that broad of a product line right now for Apple to give them all the support that maybe they get with the phone or they get with other. Although Apple is kind of notorious for not doing enough developer support. So if you want to know how this product is developed, the difference in an 18-month period, the difference between Vision OS and how it's changed from a rather clunky system to now that includes gestures, it includes all sorts of things that wasn't in the first rendition of the OS. They are putting out updates just as often as they put out updates for any other of their Apple products. And each major update, there's kind of a significant shift in what the product can do. So
yeah, once it kind of finds its niche.
Yeah. So it's more right now. It's a entertainment / productivity device.
Okay.
And it's gotten better at the productivity part. It always was pretty good at the entertainment piece.
And the other thing to remember is this is still a relatively new product. So when the iPhone came out, when the iPad came out, when the Apple Watch came out, there was also very little in the way of, especially with the iPhone, of developer support, because in Steve Jobs' mind, everything was supposed to be web apps, and that didn't work out the way that most people expected. So then they finally switched to on-device apps. And once that happened, not only did sales explode, but the types of apps that you could get for those devices exploded as well. Same thing with the Apple Watch. It took a generation or two before people started developing for it. You want to make sure that you're not going to, waste time and money on something that's not going to, in the long run, give you anything back as far as the developer goes.
Yeah, if you think of, and I can only speak at this point, maybe there's a parallel with that with the phone, but if you think of the Apple Watch and Vision Pro, those are products in search of a market. And with the watch, they're really good products. They're really quality products. And they found a market with the Apple Watch. It's now health, exercise. I mean, that is a big niche for the watch that other devices don't do that well with. Other watches don't manage as well as Apple does in terms of the integration with health. And I think that's the same with Vision Pro. It started off as a cool entertainment device with very little stuff in terms of entertainment that was available besides 2D movies. But it's grown into an enterprise medical device. It's grown into an enterprise development and engineering CAD kind of device for folks who are working in industry. And it's grown into a training device for both scenarios. And those are the news articles that are consistently coming out with it, with different ways they're using it for different kinds of surgery. So,
okay. Next up, felt heavy after long use. And, I think it weighs about 1.5 pounds. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
something like that.
Okay. If you're wearing it for 2 to 3 hours, you could find it to become a little heavy at times. So can you think of anything that the next version of this, assuming that there is a next version of it and it doesn't just go to, a different type of product, that they could do to alleviate some of the weight?
They already have with the new dual band that's actually weighted. There's actually weights in the back of it. So if you put that on, the device is now heavier, but you don't feel it because the weight balance is so different.
It's better.
And at MacStock, I'll bring both bands and you'll go, yeah, the first band, you're constantly, holding your neck tight so you can keep it steady, and not so much the case with the dual loop band that's out and that is now, and anything that gets shipped now gets shipped with the dual loop band. They used to ship with two, and they've just given up on that, and they're doing both. And because of that, I think that complaint persists, but it's less and less legitimate in terms of the balance. Often people are wearing them too close or too tight, and that's where the neck strain comes from. So it's a simple shift. It's user error to some degree,
Okay.
particularly with the new dual band. So this will be alleviated, hopefully. If this bifurcates into two lines where you have the Vision Pro, where estimates maybe not until 2028 will we see a 2, where you'll see all sorts of specs on it improve. 2027, maybe you'll see in the spring of 2027 the first set of glasses coming out, and that will be a completely different weight balance because it's not going to require all the fans and all the other stuff that is part of the Vision Pro. So
okay. Battery life is limited to 2 to 3 hours at most, just viewing content, less if it's used as a virtual monitor or other serious use.
Yeah, you are really, there's so much going on in this thing that if for serious travelers, they own 2 batteries. 2 hours will get me through a movie on a plane.
Sure.
Now I can also daisy chain this into the battery into a power source on the plane, and then it's drawing and at the same time using, and that helps. But I don't think there's too many folks who would want to be that immersed that long, more than 2 to 3 hours anyways, without taking the damn thing off your head.
Reorienting yourself to the real world.
Yeah. I know.
I'm on a plane.
Eric does a lot of work with it. I use it for entertainment, for gaming. 3D puzzles for me are just incredible on this. That's that is a persistent problem. And the efficiency of what they can do with the batteries, which are hefty, they weigh a bit too, it's a matter of battery efficiency versus how complicated this device is in terms of battery draw and what you're expecting it to do. So
okay, eye tracking not always precise, which is more of a software thing, I believe, than a hardware thing.
Yeah, well, that's what's improved with the M5. They've got a better processor, so they can. What you want with good eye tracking is you don't want delays. You want it to kind of move quickly to wherever your eye is going.
It would be very confused with me.
Yeah.
I've got one eye that doesn't move at all, and the other one is like going wherever it needs to go.
We talked about that. We talked about that there is a way to shut that off so you can use. Yeah. And here's before we get off of that, I did try at not the last MacStock because I wasn't there, but the one before that, and both you and Eric had brought their units to MacStock and we're letting people try it. And I wasn't sure what to expect with with monocular vision, what was going to happen when I put it on. And I was pleasantly surprised that it made zero difference as far as I could tell.
that I saw everything that was on that screen. Nothing was blurred. Nothing was color shifted. It was just like looking at a monitor for me. And for other people, I mean, if you turn on 3D, all the rest of that, they have a way of like slightly shifting the various items within, and it's all done on the back end, not done, when you're presented with a movie file or a game file or whatever it is. And that kind of 3D, of course, doesn't work for me because I don't see the shift. And if it's color shifted 3D, that's even worse because everything is either blue or red. So the fact that I was able to put the Vision Pro on and use it with monocular vision was a delightful surprise.
Yeah, and that was the first.
That was the first one, yeah.
Vision OS. I mean, and one of the things that I think Apple has really captured is not only the health piece, but also the accessibility piece.
Yeah, I almost said disability, but no, accessibility is a better word.
And so when you see growth in lines of their operating systems or software, you also see growth in the accessibility that's available. And I personally haven't played around with that much, but I think that's the next thing to look at in your case to see if they have made modifications where it will allow you to have some spatial kinds of experience with it, even with monocular vision.
Yeah, I actually sent, and because Tim Cook at one point was like, just send me an email. And of course, he doesn't read them. There's somebody that filters all the way through it. And I had a vision a long time ago of having, because it has cameras on both sides, of having those cameras combined into a single right or left lens. And for people with monocular vision or with restricted vision in one eye or the other. And I did get a reply, but of course it was not from Tim Cook. It was more along the lines of, we're so happy that you contacted us about the Vision Pro, blah, blah, blah. If you would like more information, along those lines. It didn't really address the thing that I had sent in the email. And that's not to say that I was like, oh, how could that be? No, I was not stunned at all that's the way that worked out.
Yeah, I'll tell you about my Tim Cook response sometime off show, because I had a really, really pleasant experience when I wrote him. Yeah. And I knew it was because I got contacted by one of his associates. And anyway, so the eye tracking has gotten better, particularly since they're really focusing on foveated vision. So it focuses on where your eyes are at in what you're looking at, and reduces the idea that everything has to be in focus. What has to be in focus is what you're looking at. Right. That allows it to happen faster, and it reduces the strain on the battery. It reduces the strain on the processor, and that's pretty cool. And then what we're seeing is NVIDIA is not NVIDIA, but we're seeing gamers coming in and game producers producing games, because we're able to get the frame rates up faster, particularly in the M5 versions of the device. So that has to do, it's helped, the foveated stuff really helps with gaming too. So they're in on that.
Okay. Glare and low light issues.
I don't know how to. I don't know
how to respond.
How to respond to that.
Well, these were issues that came up in a search. Now, I've only used one time the Vision Pro, and it was in a relatively well lighted room, and I don't remember any glare problems. And of course, I can't speak to low light issues. I'm guessing low light issues would be like, well, I'm in total darkness and it's not lighting up the whole room for me or something along those lines.
Yeah, the low light issues are scenarios where you need to have some depth of field, so it needs to know how far it is to the wall, and if it's too light, too low light, it doesn't know how to make those judgments. So sometimes you'll get triggers that say you're in a real low light condition. If you can improve the lighting in the room, you'll get a better response in terms of it. There are folks who like to take off the face shield and just have the lenses mounted without any protection in terms of exterior light coming in. I don't get that. I mean, Eric's tried it a couple of times. To me, there's too much going on at the side for me to pay attention to what's going on in front of me. But some folks like that because it allows them to get a little closer to the lenses and closer to the screens that are in there, and they have a wider field of vision. But then you've got wind blowing in from the side and other distractions, room lights going on and off and stuff like that. So,
okay. And the last one I have here as things that people complain about are software bugs, which it's like, how long have you been using technology?
I must have some magic Marty dust or something that, I hear everybody having problems, and I'm notorious for running developer betas.
Sure.
Why, I don't know. But
glutton for punishment.
Folks who've been around in this, I know. Folks who've been around in this business longer than I have remember the bad old days, and I don't remember the bad old days. So I wind up running, and this is not to recommend to listeners to do this. I run up running developer betas. I never have problems.
Yeah, I'm
not pushing it.
I run it on my iPad, and I run it on my my laptop. Other than I don't put it on my main M4, and I don't put it on my phone. I don't have another phone to play around with it. Thought about it, and maybe I should have, but I can't do that now unless I could find one super, super cheap. So here's the last thing I've got on this. Some have also said that there's been an unusually high rate of return for the Vision Pro as well. Analysts have also claimed that most of the team responsible for the Vision Pro have been moved to other teams. Since the original launch, the hardware was moved to Apple's hardware group manned by John Turnus. That was something that Jeff was getting me doing last week at the time, and the software group to Apple's software group. I don't think this is a huge surprise as far as the current rendition of the Vision Pro goes. No, I think if they're gearing up for things, they're gearing up for the glasses. There's not a lot of. That doesn't mean they're going to drop Vision Pro, but that's a long way out. Whereas they're trying to fix other things and moving people there. At the same time, they're constantly hiring particular engineers to address this visual device that they're working with. So, yeah. The other rumor is that Turnus is not hot on this. At the same time, Turnus says, we're just beginning with this. Okay. Well, they could actually, both of those statements could be true. Yeah. He might not be hot on the Vision Pro as it currently is, but is very excited about whatever it is that's coming next. And Apple, as they start ramping up for new products, and I'm sure that there's several of these kinds of teams, they have like secret teams. So there was a secret team that was doing the Vision Pro as it was being developed. I'm sure there's a secret team related to whatever, if there's anything coming next in that category for Apple. And there's probably secret teams for like all kinds of things. You know, I imagine there's probably a secret team for using an A-series chip in a desktop Mac, which, quite frankly, I am stunned that with the success of the MacBook Neo that they haven't already done. But that's a topic.
Yeah.
That's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that you want to say about this before we head out?
No, I think people need to follow this. I mean, and follow what happens with it. Of course, I'm doing a podcast on it, so that's always nice to have people follow it. But there's always new stuff to talk about AR, VR that Apple's into, even if it's patents or things that they're filing. Some of the patents, I think, are predictive of where glasses is going to be. So when I talk about patents, and Dave gives me some laugh about it, he says, I love patents. Well, I do, because it's kind of predictive of what they're interested in investing their time and money in and what could wind up in a product one day. And everything's pointing towards glasses when you look at patents. But all of that's being learned with Vision Pro. So cool.
Okay. I don't believe that the Vision Pro is being canceled, and we'll see what happens in the future. Would you agree with that statement? Just nod your head if you agree.
I nod my head.
He's nodding his head.
Hit it. Gaz's tips. Mostly. Gaz's tips. Mostly. Gaz's tips.
It's time for
Gaz's tip.
Doing the monkey. Okay. I have a couple of iPad tips this week. If you swipe up slowly from the bottom, you'll reveal the dock while you're in whatever app it is that you're using, which makes switching apps much faster, assuming that those apps are also in the dock. You can turn the on-screen keyboard into a trackpad by placing 2 fingers on it and then moving around for precise cursor control. I think those tips are the tops. What do you think, Marty?
I think, yes, they are the tops.
He's nodding his head
They
again.
are.
Hit it. That's the end
Yep.
of Gaz's tips.
The song that goes on forever.
The end of Gaz's tips.
Is that the end of the tip?
Will you let me finish?
Gaz, you are absolutely right.
Okay. Moving on. For pick's sake, I have a for pick's sake this week, and it is ChatGPT Atlas. It is both a web browser and an LLM AI chatbot. It's quick, as I can tell, as most other browsers, and if you use an AI client a lot, it's quite handy. Product searching isn't about ad placement. Be aware, though, it's also gathering information based on what you ask it. So privacy is not the main focus of either this app or that web browser. What do you got, Marty?
My pick is trying to solve a problem that I had, because I think ultimately my microphone was too close to my keyboard. And at the same time, I had a mixer kind of blow out on me, and it stopped working. It was giving me all sorts of noise in the background. So I went and got a Rodecaster Duo, and I'm learning how to set the levels on that.
That's a great device.
To fix that. But what I decided I needed to do was maybe look at a different keyboard. And I looked at, I did a search to what is the quietest keyboard. And sure enough, the Apple keyboard came up as one of them. But this is the one that came up for me and that I purchased. And I'm really enjoying, even though it doesn't have the touch option on it that the Apple keyboard does. The Logitech MX Keys minimalist keyboard. And it's got a nice feel to it, and it works pretty well. It has backlighting So that is important. I found the only time I'm most often using the touch is when my device shuts down and I have to open it back up. And so instead of having the touch available for me, I just type in a short password that gets the device back open. All the rest of my passwords are either 1Password or Apple passwords, and I don't necessarily have to worry about not having touch on this device. I'm enjoying it, and I also added to it a glorious. I had to lift my thing to see the name of it. A glorious pad for your keyboard.
Okay.
So it's a pad that sits under the keyboard, and I'll make sure I get the links in there for you.
Okay. Thank you.
And so now it's kind of a nice, quiet little thing, and my Hulk smash way of typing that occurred because I had aluminum keyboard on top of a plastic desk counter top, and I would pound away, and all of that vibration would come up into the microphone. Is now disappeared for me. So,
well, do you have? I don't know. Do you have a what do they call these? Shock mount for the Heil?
No, I don't have a shock mount for the Heil. I have this on, I think, an Elgato arm. And the reason I like it is it sits right at the level I want it to. And when I'm done, I just swing it out of the way.
So it's a low profile arm.
Yeah.
That's, I have found that that's what I prefer now is low profile. I've got two of them here. One for the microphone that I'm using, and then for whatever reason, one for another microphone that I'm not using, because I've never done a dual podcast from this location. I definitely could, but I haven't. And I probably won't, because that one involves telling people, oh, yes, come on over to my house. We'll go down in the basement and record a podcast. It's no.
Just a curiosity, have you ever done a double ender? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Actually, I do.
No,
I do. I'm just kidding.
In Amsterdam.
Yeah. It involves informed consent in some states. No, I know I know when you're talking about podcasting, I know what a double ender is. Basically, it's you record your audio, the other person records their audio, and whoever it is that's going to edit gets both and then does whatever they need to do with it. Right. I haven't had to do that, even though when I record with Gaz, he records his own audio in case I need it. But I don't, I never ask guests to do that, because it's like, well, some of them may know how, other ones don't. And I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but it's, it's fine. It hasn't bitten me in the butt that much. One or two shows over the years, it's been like, oh, I wish I had this separately. And I do record each track separately, but some audio with audio, it's if you got garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. And there's not too much that anyone can do to fix bad audio, which is why I tell people, don't sit there and think in your head, I'll fix it in post, because a lot of times you can't. So just don't do it. Yeah. Get the best audio that you can.
Yeah, there are some amazing tools, but there's certain things you just can't get rid of.
Exactly.
And the tools won't get rid of it for you.
No, so. even if they're AI, they still won't get rid of it for you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, room echo and being on the wrong mic. Can't fix that.
Yeah, you can't fix that. If you'd like to support the show, that would be fantastic. You can go to coffee, ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or you can pay a pal through paypal.me/MacParrot. We've got some feedback this week. These are both from YouTube. One is from Mike Potter. I know it's Mike Potter based on the email address that it came into, and it said, now I know why one of my listeners emailed to ask, so when is the Mike and Guy Searle podcast being broadcasted. We need to make that happen. Apologies for the delay. Oh, email me, Mike. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. And then from a van life thing, which I think is one of the, I can't think of his name, over in the UK that was doing a lot of van life stuff. Or it could be somebody else altogether. I don't know. It says, one of you does the parrot thing with the guy that walks and the tall fella from London in it. And I don't understand all of that, but I appreciate the feedback. It's greatly appreciated. If you send me an email, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit, I will send you something amazing. Now, Marty has gotten his, and I know that it has completely altered his life in only the good ways, and that is called a woo tea. And if you don't know what a woo tea is, that's a big W, big O, big T, little I, little E, exclamation mark. That's a Woody. So we also have some feedback. I got some feedback on the Apple podcast app, or through the Apple podcast app, from a good friend of mine. I used to work with this guy, Chris, and he says that he has been incredibly impressed with the Neo. I bought the $699 version with 512 Touch ID, and it is a great day-to-day machine. And the build quality is shockingly good for the price point. My other Macs include a fully loaded M1 Max, wow, an M4 15-inch MacBook Air, an M3 MacBook Pro 14-inch, an M2 Air, and an M4 Mac Mini, a few older Intel MacBook Pros and MacBook Airs, and a couple of older Intel Macs. I'd not hesitate to recommend the Neo to someone just looking for a day-to-day machine. Obviously, you're not going to be running large inference models or whatnot on the device, but damn, it's good. Thank you, Chris. I think I have your email address. If I don't, please send me something to the email address. That will be coming in just a minute. And I will also send you a Woody. And so remember, if you have done a podcast review and we've spoken about it on the show, you need to send me an email so that you also can get your Woody. And you can send us a bumper as well for the audio version of this show. I play the bumpers right at the very beginning. So if you send me one, it will be on a future show. You can say anything you want about Gaz and me. Please keep it between 5 to 10 seconds. And if you must use naughty words, Marcus, that's fine. But they will be beeped. Now, Marty, if people want to get a hold of you or see some of your other shows, how would they do that?
Yeah. Simply, I've collected them all under a brand called thepodtalk.net. That's the website, thepodtalk.net. And, it has mentions of other shows that I'm on, but it also has shows that I produce, including the Neo Notebook, Vision Profiles, 15-Minute Bites, and the Tech Savvy Professor, and the Fade to Chat, a movie one that I do. So go to thepodtalk.net. You can find me on most all of the socials at Jencius, Jencius, and connect with me there.
Okay, that is how you would find out. And believe me, Marty has a lot of shows, including one that I inadvertently suggested, and it's become a semi-regular thing that I still haven't been on. How weird is that? That is so weird.
We've got to get you on 15-minute bites.
15-minute bites.
But BYTES.
Yes.
It was a conversation that we found out how much people were foodies in our group. And we started talking about recipes. And I think you said, oh, no, Marty's going to make a podcast out of this.
And then you did.
And it's fun.
It is fun.
And it's stepped up my cooking. It's like, Jill came on and she talked about making ice cream. I'm making ice cream now.
Nice.
Dave came on and talked about Italian beef, and I've started making Italian beef. So yeah, it's fun.
I'll have to, the first one we should do should probably be my, what is that? It's,
you had a roast beef.
I had a roast beef recipe, a prime rib recipe, I should say.
Yeah.
A cream spinach recipe that I think I put into the chat. And I'm blanking. It's made from like pork butt or pork shoulder, and it starts with a C. Carnitas. I have a fantastic carnitas recipe, which my wife and I will be having for dinner tonight. The last of what I made while she was gone.
Okay.
And so we'll figure out one of those eventually will be on 15-minute bites, and that's bites with a Y. If you would like to get a hold of me or Gaz, you can send us an email to gmenshow@icloud.com. That's GMENSHOW @icloud.com. As far as socials go, Gaz is typically on Mastadon and BlueSky, and he's GazMaz on both of those. For Mastodon, make sure you put in the, and I don't quite get this, @c.im. I guess there's lots of different little mini servers inside of Mastodon. You can also reach both of us on both Twaxter and Skies of Blue by going to Guy and Gaz, GUYANDGAZ. For myself, you can reach me on the X-Twitters. If you don't know what I mean by that, give me a break. As either MacParrot or VertShark, and I'm also on Skies of Blue as MacParrot or VertShark. And Marty, surprise, surprise, surprise. We have a Google Voice number. I don't know if you're aware of that, even though it's in both sections of either the vertical or horizontal version of eCam, along with our email address. So that makes it real easy to find. That voice number, if you're just listening to us in audio, is 703-828-4677. And if you missed it, here it is again.
703-828-4677.
That's right, Marty. It's 703-828-46. And that's the number that you call. And Jeff gets really excited when I get to this part of the show.
Guy has a Google Voice number. The G-Men want your call.
Yeah. Call us now. If you do call that number and you're outside of the U.S., make sure you put in the country code, which is 1, and then the number, and be aware you may incur charges if you dial it directly. Some of the other stuff I do, if you go on over, actually, if you look in most podcatchers, there's Guy's Daily Drive, which is an archive for all the ones I did going all the way back to 2018. I haven't put in many recently, but there's still a bunch from 2018 that I had to re-upload because I let go of my my previous host for all of the audio and video that we were doing. And there's also Tales from the AI-verse, which, damn it, it's still only at 2 episodes. What the hell's wrong with me? But I will get there. I will get there. I swear to God, one of these days there'll be a new one, and everyone will sing hallelujah, and hosannas will be brought up to high. This is the sad part of the show, Marty, where we have to say goodbye to all these fine people.
Oh.
It is. I tear up almost every single time.
I can feel them. I can feel the warmth of them.
They're like, no, don't go. Don't go. And, all kidding aside, believe me when I say this, I really, really do appreciate every single person that downloads and listens to the wow, flashback, GMen podcast. It is greatly appreciated. And, thank you so much for downloading and listening. Marty, I think that that this week we were good enough, and that also this week we were smart enough. Yeah. And that doggone it, woof, 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 wilf, wolf, wolf. I don't know. Well, are there any other vowels? Welf. How about welf? I don't think I've used welf. Okay. Doggone it. People like us.
People like us.
They do. And I got a couple of jokes. Are you ready? A couple of dad jokes.
Please.
I'm sorry. Okay. The password that I use is incorrect. So when I forget, the computer reminds me your password is incorrect. All right. Next. My dad joke got an update yesterday. Now it's compatible with all my devices and still not funny. I told my editor to cut the filler from the episode. Now the show has absolutely no trace of me at all.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. That's it. And
so you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on home and I go home.